What's up, guys? It's John here with National Sports Entertainment, and there's not a lot of action going on tonight. There was a couple things. There's a couple college games, and I really don't trust this three-game series as far as the World Series, the AL wild card. But I do like the Mets, I won't lie. The reason I like the Mets is because I don't know a lot of the baseball narratives, but it does seem like they're trying to set up some kind of Subway Series, and I just don't see the Mets losing to the Padres. There is a chance they lose Game 1, but I just don't think they lose. They get swept by the Padres. So should the Mets lose, we would just double up on them. But that one's at 8, so that one's going to be a little bit after Nebraska. Rutgers, and that's going to be our first pick. And a couple people requested it, and the reason I like it doesn't exactly fit my metric, but it almost does. Nebraska here is 1-4 against the spread, and you will see, as I've said in the past, even though they're not winless against the spread, as the season goes on, only a handful of teams are going to finish with 1 or 2 against the spread. So with the 3-point spread, I do think it's safe that Nebraska covers. And it's not just because of that metric. I also look at just players that they are pushing or players that are being portrayed as unstoppable. And one of those players is Anthony Grant. And if you look at his history, it's interesting. Hasn't played in a couple years. I had looked back. I think he's a transfer, and he's having a really great start to the year. And rigged or not rigged, I like Nebraska here because rigged, they are trying to push them as a legitimate contender in the Big Ten. I've seen that being pushed. And not rigged, Scarlet Knights here have a really rough defense in general. They get ran all over. They don't do much offensively. So that would not benefit their style. Grant can just run all over them. And from the games I've seen, Nebraska, he has played well. Essentially, with him and Thompson, it could be if their option is working and their play action is working, then it could be a 28-0 rout. If not, they could be in trouble. But again, Rutgers is a team that even if they're in trouble against, again, rigged or not rigged, I don't see Rutgers winning this game. I don't see them covering the 3-point spread either. To me, this spread's a psychological number. You'll see a 3-point spread often in games that are not even close to 3 points. And I think it's just to encourage people to take the money line. And in a lot of cases, it screws them up. But yeah, it just throws people off. I think it's going to make people think Rutgers is more competitive than they are. They did have a nice Week 1 win. I actually picked them. It's before the system even started. And they did beat Boston College. But in this situation, I do like Nebraska. So we're going to go with Nebraska here. And we're just going to take the spread because it's paying even. And this is, of course, going to be to win 25. And we have another outstanding sequence. We have a few. But in case you haven't seen my last couple videos, we have Colorado State. We picked that one, and that one's going to be just another 25. And we didn't pick Colorado State. We picked the over. Here's Nebraska, and here's Colorado State. We picked the over. The reason I went with the over is Colorado State has yet to cover an over this year. And while they have not covered a spread this year either, they are so, again, rigged or not rigged, they are portrayed as so horrible and putrid on defense that I feel like the only way they can win this game is if it goes over 44. So that's why I chose the over. So I got Colorado State over. That's not until 10. So if you want, you can bet the Nebraska game and double up here. I always play it by year, but that's probably what I'll do. And again, I don't see Nebraska losing. But should they not cover that spread, here's the 10 o'clock game, Colorado State And I'll go into Sundays more. Of course, we know we like the Bucks and the Packers. And I entered a Survivor League. There's for an entry. I think these things are almost just complete rip-offs like those carnival games. But I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a try. So here's my entry, and it's like $30, I think. And essentially, you just pick a winner each week. Sounds simple enough. Sure enough, it's not. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Green Bay straight up. No, there's no spread here. But this kind of gives us an idea of where people are at. So we see 14% of people have picked Jacksonville, which would not make me surprised at all for a Houston upset, or if nothing else, for them to cover the spread. Because if people are doing this with their survivor picks, where this is their gun-to-head pick, you can bet that that's where the money's going. 22% on the Bills. As great a trap as that is, there's no way Pittsburgh wins that game straight up. Maybe they cover the spread. Here's a little opportunity for a mini trap at the Niners, but I don't see it happening. I think Niners win. And 6% on the Chiefs. I think this one could be interesting. I see a lot of people saying Raiders, but this just kind of gives us an idea. I can use this with other metrics to see where a lot of the money's at, which games to avoid. You essentially want to avoid games that, again, could be traps, like this Jacksonville game. With the money coming in and the fact that it's a 1 o'clock game nobody's going to be watching, very good chance the Texans win this game outright. But, again, this isn't about our picks. I just wanted to show you my survivor thing, and we'll get back to the picks. For tonight, there's the two college games we went over, and there is another one I like. But like I said, it's 8 o'clock, and it's, as I said in the beginning, it's the Mets. And the reason I like the Mets is it's not just the records. You're not going to have a team like the Mets, and you're going to build them up strong all year. And in this Subway Series potential, only for them to get swept by the Padres. Yeah, it would be a nice trap, but it's as much about narratives as it is about Vegas making money. And on games like this, you're going to have a lot of people trying to think, okay, the Padres can do it. The Padres have a good team. So these records aren't really indicative of the teams. I'm just looking more at the narratives that I see. Max Scherzer is always painted as a playoff machine. So Mets probably just go up 1-0 tonight. But I don't see them just losing in the first round. I think they want to keep the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, all those teams in play. Even if the Phillies don't win, you still have the Cardinals. So you have a lot of familiar faces and familiar franchises. Mets haven't been this far in a while. No way they lose in the wild card. So that being said, it's an 8 o'clock game. It's going to be about an hour or so after Nebraska. But I'm going to lock in the pick anyway. I can always amend it. And here we have options. Now, a lot of these wild card games are 1-0 games. So taking the Mets with the run line is very risky here. Just because of if you watch a lot. I mean, the first game today was I think it was a 1-0 game or a 2-1 game. So a lot of these games are going. It's because they're portraying that you have the aces of both teams that basically can't be hit. And since I likely will be doing a second leg, I'm just going to bet to win 25. It's going to be more. I get it. But I'm going to bet the money line here on the Mets. And this isn't for tonight. I mean, it is. But the goal is not for tonight. The goal is the Mets aren't getting swept by the Padres in the wild card. And then should they say they lose game 2, then the third leg, I'm just going to fade the Padres again. So that's essentially how the system works for baseball. It works really good for baseball, actually. But we've seen how it works for football as well. So I can officially add these to the sequence. But yeah, so we got about 3 more sequences now. But I wanted to just get my picks out. Honestly, I was going to take a nap, and I didn't want to not get my picks out in time. And I know a lot of people aren't that enthused about these lower level college games or, the Mets. But I'll definitely be getting Saturday's picks out. I love the Volunteers. I'll just say that right now. I don't want to pick all these games ahead of time if we don't know what's going to happen with the first leg. So as you can see by the bankroll, we have a lot of outstanding wagers. I think we have like 6. And then I got my Survivor League. So we're going to see how these first legs go. Hopefully the Colorado State over comes through. Mets hit hard. And we're just in a good spot. But those are my picks. And just to recap it, I picked Mets straight up to win 25. Colorado State on the over to win 25. I do like Nebraska -3. That's an even bet, 25. And the other 2 are going to be for Sunday, obviously. And then I'll lock in Tennessee most likely later today or tomorrow. So I just wanted to keep it quick and brief. I like the metrics, I like the narratives, and I like our earnings. So take care, everybody.